Good afternoon, everybody. Just wanted to kind of check in with you just to let you know what's going on in the recent developments on the war front, because it's very important that you know what's about to take place, because it is all relating to biblical prophecy. So the Bible talks about a false peace that's going to befall upon the world before sudden destruction. And what I believe it is that now that Biden has formed this peace treaty, this little mini 60-day ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hezbollah, that is a harbinger for the false peace that the Bible talks about. And the reason why I said I think it's a harbinger, because it is not the 7-year peace treaty that the Antichrist is going to spearhead. It's going to be this false peace treaty that Biden has brokered with France. France and America brokered this false peace treaty between between Israel and Hezbollah, which I told y'all that is it's really no good. I don't see the point of it, because Hezbollah is funded by Iran. You know, Iran, Hezbollah, the Houthis, and Hamas are all one and the same, in my opinion. They are a part of the global alliance, or a part of the surrounding nations that the Bible says will form an alliance against Israel. So there's no need of, holding or breaking the arm of the whole body. You just broke the arm, in my opinion, with this peace treaty. You put a band-aid over a bullet wound, because that peace treaty is about this close to being broken already. It ain't even been a week, and they're already accusing the other sides of violating the peace treaty. And Netanyahu has already said that if Hezbollah violates this peace treaty, ceasefire. It's a ceasefire. It's a temporary 60-day ceasefire. And Netanyahu has said that if they violate that ceasefire, Israel will attack even harder than before, which probably means they're going to go ahead and just eliminate Hezbollah, which they should have did anyway. Cut that arm off. Don't break the arm. Cut the arm off. So Israel is saying, if you violate this peace treaty that we agreed to enter into, this 60-day temporary ceasefire that America and France has brokered between Israel and Hezbollah. Israel has said if they violate it, if they break it, then they will attack even harder against Hezbollah. They should. If I was Israel, I would not have listened to America, and I would have just went on ahead and eliminated Hezbollah. Period. Gotten rid of them. So then they could focus on. Israel should have just wiped out Hezbollah and Hamas anyway. But I understand why they didn't do it, because those hostages are still in captivity, and they don't want them to kill the hostages. Because the way the Arab community and the Palestinian community armies, where their forces fight, that if they go down, if they are killed, if they are destroyed, they're going to take them hostages out. They're going to kill every one of them. So that's why Israel, I understand why they're careful about not going ahead and eliminating Hezbollah and Hamas and the Houthis in Yemen. Israel can easily defeat them. And if NATO would go ahead and help them, then they would, get them out of the way so they can focus solely on Iran, because Iran is a superpower. The Hamas and Houthis and Hezbollah are not superpowers. They are aligned with Iran. They are allies of Iran, but they themselves, they're not superpowers. So they just need to go ahead and take them on out, so they can focus on Iran and Iran only. But how does this all relate to Bible prophecy? These are the kings of the north, because Iran and Russia are north of Israel, north of the Holy Land. They're located north of the Holy Land. And this is the alliance, this is the coalition of the kings of the north. Now, we all know that Russia and Iran are strong allies. And we also know that Russia and North Korea and China are strong allies, the kings of the north and the kings of the east. And so America is an ally of Israel right now, as long as America doesn't turn on Israel. And France is an ally of Israel, as long as France, because France almost turned on Israel just last month. So these alliances are pretty shaky, because the Bible says that all these nations are going to eventually turn on Israel at the end of the day. And Israel is going to have to be forced to rely only on God's intervention to deliver them from the hands of their enemies. This is how Bible scripture is going to play out. So although NATO is backing Israel right now, the way scripture is going to be fulfilled is that all of these nations are going to eventually turn against Israel, including America, if America is still here. So what's happening now is NATO is going to deploy 100,000 troops to Ukraine, because North Korea has already sent 100,000 troops not 100,000, but North Korea has already sent troops to Ukraine to help Russia fight against Ukraine. So now NATO is deploying, they're about to deploy 100,000 troops to Ukraine. But you know what? They're already saying that Ukraine has lost its war and they're going to have to go ahead and concede. And Zelensky is saying, the president of Ukraine, Zelensky is saying that he will agree to end the war if Ukraine is made a member of NATO. And the reason why he's doing that is because when Ukraine becomes a member of NATO, that means they are under the full protection and full alliance of NATO, to where if Russia fights Ukraine as a member of NATO, then Russia will be fighting, of Ukraine. As if Ukraine becomes a member of NATO, then Russia will be in effect fighting NATO, and they will be at war with NATO. So that's what Ukraine and Zelensky wants, because right now they're on the verge of losing the war with Russia. So it's already, for real, to be honest, Russia has already declared war on NATO, because all of the NATO countries have provided Ukraine with long-range missiles and given Ukraine the permission to attack Russia deep inside of Russia with the long-range missiles. So Russia has declared war on NATO already. So why not make Ukraine a member of NATO? It's like they already are. And those long-range missiles are guided by NATO countries, including America and France. They're guiding those long-range missiles on where to strike inside of Russia technologically. So Russia is pretty much already at war with NATO. So why not make Ukraine a member of NATO? If not, just go ahead and just give Russia Ukraine and let this war die. Because this is not... this is just one of the end time wars that the scriptures talk about, where it says there will be wars and rumors of wars, and nations will war against nations. This is one of those wars. This is not one of the holy wars that's going on in the Middle East. The Middle East is a holy war. The one in Ukraine against Russia is just one of the wars and rumors of wars that the New Testament talks about. So that's why I like to focus on the holy wars that's happening. Although with Russia, you got to pay attention to Russia, because Russia is one of the kings of the north that's going to form an alliance against Israel. They've already formed an alliance against Israel, because they're providing Ukraine with weapons. I'm sorry, not Ukraine. They're providing Iran with weapons. Russia and Iran are strong allies. China and Russia and North Korea are strong allies. These are the kings of the north and the kings of the east that have a strong alliance against Israel. Also, the surrounding nations, like the Bible said, so the surrounding Arab and Palestinian nations You know, they have formed an alliance against Israel. I already touched on that in a previous video. So this is all taking place, and people are not paying attention because we too distracted by entertainment. But all of this is leading up to the tribulation period, the rapture and the tribulation period, because now with this fake peace agreement, I think it's just a harbinger of the real peace treaty that the Antichrist is going to form during the tribulation period. This I keep saying peace treaty. It's like a mini peace treaty. This ceasefire agreement between Israel and Hezbollah, it's like a mini peace treaty. It's a temporary peace treaty, but it's not the main peace treaty that the Antichrist is going to form during the tribulation period. This mini peace treaty is a harbinger, and a harbinger is a thing or something or someone that that takes place to give a sign of what's to come. That's what a harbinger is. And this temporary ceasefire is a harbinger for the 7-year peace treaty that is going to come during the tribulation period. So I believe that what's happening now with this ceasefire agreement, this mini peace treaty, this 60-day ceasefire agreement, it's about to kick off the rapture, because the Bible says where they think that there is peace and safety, they have a false sense of peace and safety or peace and security, then there will be sudden destruction. And that's what's going to happen. Once this peace treaty is broken or violated, like Netanyahu said, this war is going to kick up even more between Israel and Hezbollah. And I believe that that's when Iran is going to attack and exercise or execute that Operation True Promise retaliatory attack against Israel. And then that's when NATO is going to have to enter into the battle to help Israel, or either NATO is going to turn on Israel. So this is all this right now that is happening right now, this false peace ceasefire agreement that's going to be broken. This is the false sense of peace and security right now until it's violated. And then the war is going to escalate between Israel and between Israel, Hezbollah, Hamas, and Iran, and the Houthis. It's going to escalate. And then once that happens, America and NATO is going to enter into the war. And not just be providing military aid. They're going to actually enter into the war full scale, full-fledged. So this right now, what's happening is going to lead up to the rapture, which can happen at any moment. But this all is a false sense of peace that is going to result in sudden destruction. That sudden destruction, in my opinion, is going to be the start of the 7-year tribulation period. It's going to be the rapture. This false sense of peace that's going to turn into a full-scale, full-blown world war, is going to kick off the rapture and the 7-year tribulation period. And when the 7-year tribulation period begins, that's when the Antichrist is going to enter onto the world stage and form that real peace treaty, that 7-year peace treaty. And that is about to happen soon. It's right around the corner. And I don't mean years away. This is about to happen. So I'm gonna touch on the news a little bit for the next day or so. But over the weekend, I'm going to work on this whole End Times Explained series that I'm doing. So right now on the End Times Explained, I am going to focus on, I've already talked about the rapture and the wedding supper and the tribulation period and Jacob's trouble. I've already touched on those 4 events. The next video I'm going to focus on is Armageddon, the second coming of Christ. And I think that's going to be pretty lengthy. I think I'm going to focus on those 2 events, Armageddon and the second coming of Christ. And I might touch on Gog and Magog. Maybe. It depends on how long It is. I might touch on Gog and Magog. But yeah, that's where I'm at. It's getting dark. It usually gets dark around 4:45, 5:30 now because it's getting winter time. So I will see you when I get back in. And the next video I do is going to be, I don't know if I'm going to do anything on the news. I just want to keep on and just focus on these End Times Explained series that I'm doing. But yeah, it's my next video is either going to be it might be a little report on the news. If not, it's going to be my second or my third End Times Explained video, and it's going to be about Armageddon, the second coming of Christ, which is also Jesus's 1,000-year millennial kingdom on earth. And then I might hit on Gog and Magog in that video as well. So, all right, peace, y'all. Let me get on in here because it's about to get dark. All right, be blessed. Okay, so God bless everybody, but I'm going to go ahead and knock this news on out the way that I said I was going to do earlier, because I got this End Time Explanation series that I'm working on. But again, today is November 29th, and it is Black Friday. What's supposed to happen on November 29th? Oh, it's the Amazon strike. The Amazon workers are striking today through Monday, December 2nd. So we'll see how that works out for them. Hopefully everything does work out for them. Good luck and God bless to them. And I think that's in 20 countries that Amazon workers are on strike. So that's going to hurt Amazon pretty bad. So I hope it works out for the workers. I really do. So where are we going to start at? Okay, first things first. I told y'all earlier about the whole thing that's going on with Russia. They are preparing their Satan II bomb in anticipation for World War III. The bomb is called Sarmat, or Sarmat, S-A-R-M-A-T, but it is also known as the Satan II bomb. And they call this the father of all bombs. They're saying this is the most dangerous bomb in the world. And they're preparing this bomb, and I put a video up here to show y'all how the news is describing the power of this bomb. They're saying that it's like, it has the power of like 45 Hiroshimas. Hiroshima being the bomb that they used on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Hiroshima and Nagasaki. What? I forgot where they. Pearl Harbor. Where did they bomb? The bomb that Oppenheimer built. That's the one. In Japan, they dropped the bombs on Japan. But anyway, they're saying, oh, was it Chernobyl? I forget. I just go by memory sometime. But whatever the bomb was that Oppenheimer built, that they dropped to end World War II. They saying that this Satan II bomb that Russia has the power of 45 of those bombs. So that's just kind of letting you know that they call it the most dangerous bomb in the world. And they're getting this ready because they did a test on this bomb earlier, about I think that was in August. They did a test on this bomb, or was it September? And the test failed. But then I told y'all they went back to the drawing board and they tweaked whatever it was that caused it to fail, and they said it's ready to go now. And these people keep, NATO and all these people, the UN, keep thinking that Putin is bluffing, but if they push him into a corner, he is going to use that bomb. They already got the Orishnik bomb that they're saying is powerful, and it can carry up to 16 warheads. And they said that it has the capability to carry nukes too. So they have two very powerful bombs that is in their arsenal. And I think that first they're going to try to use, if this war escalates and it heats up, especially if NATO tries to give Ukraine nukes, then what's going to happen is Russia's going to first launch that Orishnik bomb with the nuclear heads in it, and that's going to cause massive devastation. But this Satan II bomb, they're saving that, because that's going to cause, that's a weapon of mass destruction, So I got a video posted on here to let y'all know more about that bomb. But they said, Putin has said that it's ready to go. It's up and ready to go. So, also, what else is going on? Israel and Lebanon are already accusing the other side of violating the ceasefire agreement. I told y'all that ceasefire agreement is not going to last. It's a false peace. I don't see it lasting. If it holds till January 20th when Trump is inaugurated, I would be surprised. But even if it does, it's a false peace that's going to escalate the war in the Middle East. And it's going to get even more aggressive. It's going to get more, it's going to intensify even more. Benjamin Netanyahu has already said that it's going to get worse if that peace agreement is, or this ceasefire agreement is violated by Hezbollah. The war in the Middle East is going to get worse. It's probably going to get worse before Trump takes office. And that's why I said that is going to be where he's going to usher in that Abraham Accord in order to stop the war. So it's all falling into place. Everything is. So we're going to see how that goes. But in the meantime, in between time, I think these two events are just quickly leading up to the rapture of the church and the start of the 7-year tribulation and Jacob's trouble. So let's, like I said, if you ain't been saved, you ain't been baptized, blood washed, and born again in the name of Jesus Christ, you better do so now before it is too late, because this is about to happen. I'm telling y'all, it's about to take place. It's going to be the rapture, which can happen at any minute, and then it's going to be the 7-year tribulation and the time of Jacob's trouble. Like I said, the time of Jacob's trouble, the 7-year tribulation is going to affect the entire world, and the time of Jacob's trouble is going to affect Israel and the Jews specifically. So these things are going to take place. Jacob's trouble is going to happen within the 7-year tribulation time period. So this all is about to happen. It's about to go down. But if you're saved and you've been baptized and you accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, you're not going to experience any of this, because you will be raptured and going to the wedding supper in heaven with the rest of the church and Jesus. So just letting y'all know. But anyway, let's make this quick. There's been a landslide in Uganda because of the rain and the flooding, and they said so far, as of the last update, this video says 20 people dead, but they're saying now 30 people have been reported dead, and they said over 100 people are still missing. And they said like 6 villages in Uganda. There's a massive landslide. There's been so much flooding and rain over in those African countries. And this is just awful, man. So they're still looking for the 100 plus people that have been declared dead. They're probably buried under the mud. They said they're missing, 100 plus missing, as search for survivors continue. That's in Uganda. What else? Oh, the follow-up on that incident where the police shot the baby in her mother's arms, the 2-month-old baby, Destiny, and her mother, Maria. Her mother, I think Maria was 37. They released a body cam video of that incident, the police did, and it is a very disturbing video. But they did release, they said it was an edited version of the video. But it shows that the mother did, in fact, pick up the knife The officers kept trying to get her to let go of the baby so they can get that baby out of harm's way. And she did pull the knife on the police. But, and this is a big but, B-U-T. As close as the police were up on the mother, on Maria, they could have tased Maria, they could have pepper sprayed Maria, and they could have just flat out shot Maria in the head. That's just how close those officers were on her. They were very close to her when they were trying to reason with her and tell her to give them the baby. That baby didn't have to get shot. This woman had a knife. This was one woman with a big butcher knife in her hand. And there was like 2 or 3 policemen surrounding her at the time with guns, with Glocks. Police use the standard issue for police is a Glock. All these policemen are standing around her with a Glock. All it would have took was one shot. She pulled the knife on the police. The baby was held down like right here to her chest. The baby's head was like right there. They had a clear headshot of Maria if they felt so threatened that they had to shoot her. They had a clear headshot. You can look at the video and see. They could have took Maria down if they felt so threatened by one woman holding a knife and a baby. They didn't have to kill. That baby didn't have to be killed. Just looking at that video, that baby did not have to be killed. They could have used other levels of force, less deadlier levels of force to subdue Maria. Like I said, they were so close up on her, they could have pepper sprayed her, they could have tased her. Even if she would have dropped the baby after they tased her, that baby still would not have been killed. If they would have maced the baby, maybe it would not have harmed the baby, I don't know, but it's better than killing the baby outright. They could have immediately wrenched the mace out of the baby's eyes if they would have maced Maria with the baby in her arms, and some of it got in the baby's eyes, in little Destiny's eyes. They could have, there were some things that could have been done to subdue Maria rather than killing her and that baby in her arms, because that baby's head was like right here and the police were like arm's length from Maria. And it just seems like they were just gung-ho about using their guns or whatever, or just that scared and nervous that they shot the baby and Maria and killed both of them. So I think that there could have been something, a lower level of force that could have been used in order to get that baby into, out of Maria's arms and not have resulted in what happened. So even if they would have had to unfortunately kill Maria, they could have saved that baby, because they could have shot her in the head. They were that close to her. They had a clean headshot of her, and that baby was right there. She had the knife and the baby was right here. They could have shot her in the head. That's how close they were. And that, if she, like I said, even if she'd have dropped that baby would still be alive. So it just seemed like there was some rookie cops or something, or just some scared police. I don't know. But in a moment like this, in their defense, it was a volatile situation, and unfortunately, little Destiny at 2 months old and Maria are no longer here because of that. And she had mental illness. They said that she was having postpartum depression and other mental issues. So it was very sad. But the video is up here with the whole incident on body cam. But they said the body cam video is edited, so FYI. What else? Speaking of police, they caught police officers or sheriff's deputies in Las Vegas using an app that would allow the officers to delete their text messages that they communicate, like in group chats and stuff, or communicate with one another. The news discovered that these police officers and the Metro Sheriff were using this app to delete their text messages. And now the question is, with the news investigative reporters is, why were you doing this when all communications that the police officers make within within their official capacity while they're at work and they're using government equipment, they weren't supposed to delete none of that stuff, because that's a matter of public record. They were supposed to preserve all of their communications in case they have to use it, for future investigations or in court or anything like that. That is the whole purpose of the sunshine laws that a lot of states have, because any form of communication, emails, text messages, phone calls, anything, and even with the body cam videos that these police record, must be preserved for future use and future scrutiny, and it is public information, public record, and they were not supposed to be using this app to conceal these text messages and delete them from their phones. So that just, caused a question, and it just raises suspicions of, what were you all doing? Were you covering up something, covering up corruption? But come to think of it, they found out that that's exactly what they were doing, because the communications, the deleted text messages, and which I'm quite sure forensic investigators can recover those text messages. I'm quite sure they can be recovered. But they were using this because they were orchestrating false arrests. And it's in the video, to falsely arrest people. And for whatever reason, there's a story from a young man. He's given an interview saying that they just flat out falsely accused him and arrested him of using counterfeit money or something. But anyway, it turns out that's the reason why they were using this app to delete the text messages, because they were orchestrating false arrests of people. So the story is up there. It's a shame. These are Las Vegas police officers. That's what it's showing. It's just corruption. The government is just corrupt on all levels. And this is just messed up that they would use this as a means to just arrest people for nothing, for no reason. Frame people to be arrested. But anyway, and I bet you nothing gets done. I bet you nobody gets fired. They might get suspended or something. All of them convictions as a result of this corruption and these arrests need to be voided, overturned, thrown out, charges dismissed, and the people completely, the victims, completely exonerated because of this. And these officers need to lose their jobs. They need to face some type of disciplinary action for doing this, because they are covering up corruption and crimes committed through, from themselves. So there are a lot of good policemen out here, but it's people like it's crooked cops and corrupt cops like this that makes it look bad for all upstanding police officers with ethics and integrity. These people, these type of cops, make them all look bad, unfortunately. In Chicago, the community is still mad about this whole migrant crisis with, the illegal migrants in their community. And so the mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, has vowed that he is not going to comply with any of Donald Trump's mass deportation efforts whatsoever. And so the community is mad, because a lot of them in the community, they voted for Trump. And that's where their whole movement, their whole political movement of, what was it, the Make Chicago Red, they voted for Trump because of the mayor and the city council's mishandling of this whole migrant crisis in their communities. And so they are demanding, they held another meeting with the mayor and the city council, demanding that he abide by any Trump mass deportation operations and don't defy the federal government. So we'll see how that works out for him. But this mayor, in my opinion, is not going to be mayor of Chicago too much longer. They're going to mess around and recall him because and some of those city council members, because that community are mad. They are upset. Anytime a Democratic city, and I don't know if Illinois went blue or went red for the presidential election, but Chicago and the folks in those communities, they voted red and they supported Trump this time around because of the dereliction of duty of this mayor and this city council in handling the migrant crisis in that city. So Chicago is a large city with a lot of votes. So we'll see how that works out. I think this mayor might get recalled, and some of those aldermen. They don't call their city council. They call them aldermen, not city council members. But anyway, that church. Remember that church that burned up in Notre Dame in France? That Catholic cathedral, that old, historic Catholic cathedral in France in Notre Dame burned up. Well, they rebuilt it and they restored it, and it's back up in operation. And there's a little short video that I put up here to show you that they rebuilt this church. And I'm wondering, is this a harbinger for the future construction of the third temple that I think is about to happen soon, once the tribulation period starts? They rebuilt that cathedral, restored it, rebuilt it, and it cost, like they said, like $100 million or hundreds of millions of dollars. But they got it together. It's been about 5 years, but they rebuilt that temple. They fixed it and everything because it was destroyed by fire. Isn't that biblical? Isn't that something? It's a Catholic cathedral destroyed by fire, and they restored it. Seems like another harbinger to me of what's to come. That third temple being rebuilt. I think that's what's going to happen. I think they're going to rebuild that third temple at the beginning of the tribulation period, and along with the Antichrist forming that peace treaty, everything is going to fall into place. I'm telling you. So, yep. Let me think. What else is going on? I think that's about it. Oh my God. Oh yes, I'm going to talk about this. Remember, I did some videos on these movies. The first movie was the Barbie, the dolls from the Wicked movie was sold to children, and on the boxes that the dolls came in, there was a witch doll, and then there was a whatever the main characters are in the movie. It was the witch doll, and then there was the good witch doll. The Wicked Witch and the Good Witch. Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo were the actresses that played the lead parts, and they had dolls for the characters in this movie called Wicked. And then printed on the box of the packaging for the dolls is www.wicked.com. And www.wicked.com is a porn site. They said it was a misprint. They claimed it was a misprint, and it should have been www.wickedmovie.com. But I don't think it was a misprint. So they recalled all those dolls, but they've probably sold so many of those dolls, and the kids probably went right on that porn website and got exposed to pornography because of those parents bought them those dolls because of the so-called misprint on the boxes that those dolls came in. I said that wasn't an accident. And then the other movie by Jack Black that's coming out for Christmas, the Dear Santa movie, where the boy misspells his letter to Santa. He writes a letter to Santa, asking for 3 wishes. And it's a play off of the Aladdin story, and then of course Santa Claus, and it's a Christmas movie. It's called Dear Santa, and the boy writes the letter to Santa, but he misspells Santa and spells Satan instead. It says Dear Satan in his letter, and Satan answers the boy's letter and grants him 3 wishes in exchange for his soul. The movie stars Jack Black as Satan, aka Santa. And Jack Black is a comedian who always jokes around about the devil and worshiping the devil and praising Satan and things like that. So this is, just something that he does. But he's going to pay dearly for this. He keeps playing around. He keeps dancing with the devil. He's playing with the devil, and God's going to hand him right over to him. Let him keep playing around. Don't take your kids to see these movies. Please. No, don't take your kids, your grandkids. Don't take no child. Don't you go see any of these movies. But anyway, there is another movie coming out. It's called Krampus. And I never knew anything about Krampus, because this was something that originated over in, it's like a fairy tale that originated over in Bavaria and Germany and Austria, over in Europe somewhere. And the Krampus are demons that during the Christmas season, these demons come, they say, and visit the bad children and go from house to house tormenting the bad children, and it's just so wicked. They parade in the streets. They go down each street in a town or a city, and they find all the bad children that have been bad throughout the years, and they terrorize the bad children. That reminds you of the story of Jesus when he was born, and Herod ordered his men to go from house to house to house to murder all of the male children in the city. That's what that reminds me of. When Jesus was born, and that wicked King Herod ordered all of the newborn boys in that city killed in order to kill Jesus. But this movie is about Krampus, and the Krampus is a bunch of demons that I guess during Christmas season they terrorize the quote-unquote bad children. And they have a parade. They hold parades across the world where these Krampus are marching in the streets. And it's just, you can't make this stuff up. And there's a movie now about Krampus that's going to be out for the Christmas season. And there's a march. They held a march in Seattle, Washington, over here in the States. But they also had a march over in, I think, Austria. These marches are held all over the world during the Christmas season. And I put a couple of videos to show y'all the parades and just how demonic they are and how they look. And only a demonic person would go and attend something like that. Kind of like the Carnival Parade in Brazil, that satanic parade. And then there was another one they held in some videos I did like 2 weeks ago, where these 2 gays were dancing on the cross on stage, had some type of performance where they dancing half naked on the cross as Jesus and I guess the thief on the cross, doing some blasphemous performance. And there was another one. Oh, there was another satanic parade in France, I believe. But anyway, look at these Krampus parades and you tell me that them ain't demonic. They just getting bold with it. What was the other? It was, remember the Olympics earlier this year during the summer? They had the blasphemous Last Supper thing at the Olympics. And you know the Olympics honors Zeus, the Greek false god Zeus. So all of this stuff is just out there. It's just right there in our faces now. So, like I said, y'all, it's the time is drawing near. It's getting worse with the natural disasters, the wickedness, the weather, the wars. Everything is getting worse. So, and with the economy, you know, people having mass layoffs and things, and inflation just getting higher and higher, and it's just getting bad. Food shortages and famine all over the world is getting bad. It's going from bad to worse, and we ain't seen nothing yet. The 7-year tribulation is going to be even worse than that. And I'm going to talk about, I've already talked about that. I've made a video about the 7-year tribulation. The next video that I'm going to do about the end times explained is going to be about Armageddon and the second coming of Christ and his millennial kingdom. So that's the next video. But it's getting bad. It's going from bad to worse. And next up is going to be, in my pre-tribulationist view, is going to be the rapture of the church up out of here, and then the 7-year tribulation period and the time of Jacob's trouble over in Israel. Those events are going to be what's going to happen next. So get ready, be prepared, get dressed for the wedding, get ready. That's all I got to say. All right, y'all. So I'm gonna cut this short, but that's about it. Watch the videos. It's a mess though. I'll be back, Lord willing, God grant it. Peace.
Are you involved in this?
That's my wife.
Okay.
I just dropped her off to go get some gas, and I guess they beat her up.
Okay.
Is that person involved?
This is my husband.
No, is that person involved?
No, not that person. No.
Okay.
I'm about
Okay. What's going on?
I called my son and asked him if it's okay for me to come up here to see my granddaughter.
It's number 6.
Yeah. Just a second, bud. Just a second. Over. Oh, 5.
Is that number 6?
It's 5. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Did you do something illegal?
No.
Okay. So can we come and talk about what's going on?
I accept your terms. What's up?
Yeah.
Hi there. What's your name? Can you come out here, please? Please. I got her in the closet. Are you okay? Are you hurt? Okay. Can we put the baby down, come out here and talk and figure out what's going on? You gonna give her to the baby? Okay.
Go. Whoa!
The death toll from Wednesday's landslide in Uganda has climbed to at least 20, with more than 100 people still missing. Now, officials say 45 homes have been completely buried, with more still being partially damaged. The Ugandan government has directed people living in impacted areas to relocate. Red Cross workers and police are continuing to conduct search and rescue operations. They say that heavy rainfall in recent weeks has triggered widespread flooding and landslides in regions across the country.
45 homes have completely gone.
Hello, everyone. It's Friday, November 29th, 2024. For those of you in the US, I hope your Thanksgiving was filled with warmth, good food, and gratitude. For everyone else, I hope you're doing well and happy because, folks, happiness is paramount. Anyway, I have some major breaking news to share. Russia prepares for major escalation. Reports from Russian media suggest that preparations are underway for a significant strike on Ukraine, potentially involving the RS-28 Sarmat ICBMs, or Satan II. This massive offensive is expected to occur on the night of November 30th. Russian forces are reportedly finalizing targets and neutralizing air defenses, while President Putin plans to issue a warning to Ukrainian civilians tomorrow before the launch. Notably, Putin has stated that decision-making centers in Kyiv could be targeted, a chilling escalation in this ongoing conflict. Additionally, Russia has placed its arsenal of RS-28 missiles on high alert in response to NATO discussions about providing Ukraine with nuclear-capable weapons. These missiles are among the most destructive in the world, capable of delivering enormous payloads, and this development underscores the growing risk of a nuclear confrontation. That whole situation is so flipping crazy. Global military preparations intensify. In Serbia, President Aleksandar Vučić has announced that the country is preparing bomb shelters for the first time in over a decade. Vučić admitted that Serbia had ceased maintaining its shelters around 2011-2012, allowing them to fall into disrepair. Now, with the potential for nuclear war looming, Serbia is strengthening its military and restoring these shelters. This comes less than a week after Germany announced similar measures to prepare its population for the unthinkable. Here in the United States, however, we currently have 0 public bomb shelters. Let that sink in for a bit. NATO's strategy and Ukraine's future. Foreign intelligence reports reveal that NATO, recognizing its inability to inflict a strategic defeat on Russia in the current conflict, is considering freezing the war in Ukraine. This would allow time to rebuild the Ukrainian armed forces and prepare them for another attempt at victory. NATO is already establishing training centers within Ukraine, aiming to train at least 1 million Ukrainian soldiers while working closely with Western military-industrial companies to bolster Ukraine's defense capabilities. But NATO's plans go even further. Under the guise of a peacekeeping contingent, the West intends to effectively occupy Ukraine. Here's how the zones would break down. Northern Ukraine and Kyiv, controlled by the UK. Central and eastern Ukraine, controlled by Germany. Western Ukraine, controlled by Poland. The Black Sea coast, controlled by Romania. This plan would involve deploying 100,000 so-called NATO peacekeepers into Ukraine. However, this strategy directly contradicts Russia's objectives in the war. Such a deployment would place NATO forces on Ukrainian territory, a red line for Russia, and would almost certainly provoke a direct confrontation with catastrophic consequences. Many experts believe NATO's relentless push to claim Ukraine, no matter the risks, is a reckless gamble. As one observer put it, nuclear war be damned. The spoiled brat children of NATO want what they want. Other developments. Iran's nuclear push. Iran has informed the IAEA of plans to ramp up uranium enrichment and bring new centrifuges online, sparking fears of an accelerated nuclear weapons program. Recent seismic activity in Iran has raised suspicions that nuclear testing may already be underway. To monitor the situation, the U.S. has deployed specialized reconnaissance aircraft. Escalating cyber threats. Denmark experienced a nationwide cyber attack yesterday, disrupting its largest telecommunications provider, police emergency lines, and rail services near Copenhagen Airport. The incident underscores the growing risks of cyber warfare amid global tensions. The bigger picture: if it's not clear, the world is on edge, with escalating conflicts, nuclear threats, and geopolitical power plays converging in ways we haven't seen in decades. As tensions continue to rise, I'll be covering these developments, so make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay informed. Talk to you soon.
Tonight, day 2 of the Israeli-Hezbollah ceasefire, and in northern Israel, work is starting on repairing rocket damage from the war. In Kiryat Shimona, a few miles from the border with Lebanon, the scars of conflict are still visible, and the sounds of battle still audible. Our camera caught outgoing Israeli artillery fire towards southern Lebanon. The IDF saying it bombed a Hezbollah rocket facility. Both Hezbollah and the Lebanese army accuse the IDF of violating the ceasefire. In the southern suburbs of Beirut, Matt Bradley met residents coming back to massive destruction.
So he's saying there's no other option. It's either death or victory. So he sees this as victory.
A very different picture across the border. This is Kiryat Shimona's central bus station. It was hit by Hezbollah rocket fire just a few days ago. But unlike the scenes in southern Lebanon, people in this town say they're not ready to return yet. They don't necessarily believe that the ceasefire will hold and that they'll only go back to their homes once they feel truly safe. We follow Limur Ben Avi, who briefly returned to her home to collect items for her twins.
I want the Hezbollah nowhere close to Kiryat Shmona. It's very scary.
Beyond these hills, Lebanon, and the lingering question on everyone's mind, can this truce hold? Hala Gorani, NBC News, Kiryat Shimona.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.
So last week I told y'all about how Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson said that he is not going to be working with President Trump once he gets into office in regards to the mass deportation of the migrants that have come over here via that of the Biden and Harris administration. Now, via his deputy mayor, she says, well, Brandon Johnson is not going to flinch. He will not be sending anybody back. Right now, in my mind, that's what I heard her saying. But nevertheless, she said that Brandon ain't going to be doing no such a thing. Right? Well, the Black Chicago residents got something to say about it. Check it out.
Brandon Johnson have ignored every
plea, call, cry. You're going to protect the undocumented while you're going to allow for the citizens in Chicago to suffer.
You ain't going to abide by what the president of the United States said. Everybody know better than that. Loser, get rid of the illegals.
Illinois is turning purple.
So as you saw there was a compilation put together by that of Fox News showing the residents saying, oh yeah, you need to abide by what Trump is saying. You need to get them on out of here. Get rid of them. Right? Because Trump said once he becomes president again, that he is going to do a mass deportation of all the migrants that are over here, and they shouldn't be, right? The undocumented, they need to go back to where they came from. And he says, y'all, via his border czar, Tom Homan, said, y'all need to leave now before we get in office, right? But there's the residents of Chicago saying, oh, so you're not going to do it, huh? They have to remind them too, Chicago is already purple because they came really close to flipping it red. And they said, oh yeah, we're going to flip it red eventually. Don't you worry. And the most importantly, you ain't going to be reelected for a second term as the mayor, right? But again, there he is saying, I'm not going to listen to y'all. I care more about the people who ain't supposed to be here than the people who got me in office. So I say once again, big ups to the resident of Chicago who are saying we are not leaving.
I first learned about an encrypted messaging app called Signal while I was covering the case of Metro Sergeant Kevin Menon. Signal is an app that can automatically delete messages. I just wanted to ask you if you knew officers in your department were using an app that can automatically delete messages.
No, I didn't.
Metro Sheriff Kevin McMahill says he didn't know his officers were using the encrypted text messaging app called Signal, but grand jury testimony and evidence proves they were. In October, nearly a dozen Metro officers who worked with now suspended Metro Sergeant Kevin Menon testified against him, some telling the grand jury they used the Signal app for group chats with him. That included Lieutenant Travis McMurtry, who was Menon's superior. Menon is accused of fabricating reasons to stop people on the strip and arrest them.
All of a sudden, I feel a hard, shoulder bump on my right side.
In my previous coverage, I spoke to Marquise Brown, who police say was one of the people set up for arrest by Menon.
He turns around and puts his hand up and goes, you got a problem? What's your problem? I ask, do you have a problem? Then all of a sudden, I just get arrested.
Screen grabs from a Signal group text chain show officers were communicating about arrest tactics. So we wanted to know, did they delete those messages? And if so, we want to explain why this matters. Under Nevada's open records law, it's illegal for any government agency to delete records, and removing, injuring, or concealing public records or documents is a Category C felony. One reason experts say is that those records must be preserved in case they're needed as evidence in court. Have you heard about government agencies and police officers using this app?
Oh yeah, government agencies and police officers love to try to circumvent the public records laws.
Las Vegas-based First Amendment attorney Mark Randazza explained to me why he believes elected officials and officers use an app like Signal.
They use it because their messages to one another are presumptively public records. So when the public or reporters or other government agencies want to see those records, they'd like to be able to speak to each other in complete privacy. The problem with that desire is that they don't get to have that level of privacy.
I went on Signal's website to find out what a disappearing message looks like. It states, quote, each and every disappearing message will have a timer countdown icon that is visible at the bottom of the message bubble. I downloaded the Signal app myself and tried both deactivating and activating the disappearing messages function. You can see the timer countdown icon is only available when the disappearing messages setting is on. I then went back to grand jury evidence of the selected screenshots from the Signal group text chain. You can see all of the text bubbles have the timer countdown icon in the bottom corner.
They can be purged within a minute of sending them, 10 minutes, an hour, a day, whatever it is. That's a very attractive function because once the message is gone, it's gone forever because it's encrypted.
And if it's gone forever, so is the public record. Metro's use of the Signal app came to light during testimony in the Menin grand jury proceeding. A juror asked one of the officers if there were records of the chats. Metro officer Stephen Casaro answered, quote, "To my knowledge, the Signal app has an automatic delete." And Metro officer Eric Sanchez testified he took a screenshot on his phone to keep as evidence just in case he ever needed it, which is how we're able to see them and show them to you. Hello, I'm J1 with Channel 13.
Hi, J1.
After multiple requests to talk with Sheriff McMahill about Menin's case were denied,
Ever thought about a Christmas movie that's both creepy and seasonal? Meet Krampus, the festive demon. Here are some fun facts. First, did you know the movie's release was specially timed for Krampusnacht, a tradition in Austria? They actually pushed the opening to coincide with this spooky holiday where Krampus comes to life on December 5th. And here's a frosty fact, those cold breath clouds in the movie, they weren't just all CGI. Actors were placed in real freezers to capture their chilly breath, which was later edited into the film. The film's unique Krampus design draws from a chilling assortment of old postcards and illustrations, cementing its connections to authentic folklore. Speaking of folklore, in case you didn't know, Krampus is a big deal in Austria and Germany. They hold Krampus runs, where grown men dress up and parade through towns, delighting and scaring kids alike. Lastly, director Michael Dougherty describes Krampus not just as a villain but as Santa Claus's dark reflection, delighting in his cat-and-mouse game. So, next time you're cozying up for a holiday movie marathon, remember, Krampus might just be coming to town.
Everybody knows jolly old Saint Nick. He's the bearer of good tidings and cheer. Well, in Austria, he's not alone. and we don't mean Rudolph. These are Krampus, a sort of monster that travels with St. Nick. They scare away bad spirits and look for naughty kids to punish, making Christmas a whole lot scarier. People in Europe have been welcoming the Christmas season by dressing as Krampus for hundreds of years.
I am Ralf Herzog, and I am the oldest Krampus here in town, Altenmarkt. On the 5th of December, we came to the childs in their homes, and the good one gets some sweets from the Nicolo, and the bad ones get hit with the whip from the Krampus. Then we go from house to house for 5-6 hours, and after we visited all the children in Altenmarkt, there's a little run with all Krampus together.
The story of St. Nick and Krampus goes back to 375 AD, and the costumes and traditions haven't changed much since.
The dress from the Krampus is made of wool from the sheep. The masks are made of wood. And so when you're walking around to all the children, to their houses for some hours, you really will get sweat. It's like a workout. It's funny to go into the houses from the people. The reaction is different. Some childs are not scared, come to you and